I am so excited to welcome you to the market shift. I'm going to be sharing the ecosystem that represents online businesses today. You'll know how to get started with the fastest route to success and ways to add in different income streams to grow your revenue. I have worked in this industry for a long time. And so I want to give you the secrets to how you're going to be able to walk away knowing how to create more predictable income and sustainably scale regardless of where you're starting. I've worked with business owners everywhere along their journey from pre-launch to $1 million plus. So know you're in the right spot. Today's training will uncover the AI secrets top entrepreneurs are using to stay ahead, boost productivity, and secure their future. And you'll have the exact equation that's making wealthy people wealthier, and you'll be able to steal, copy, and paste it before it widens the wealth gap any further. This equation was not obvious to me when I started my own business, and I searched for a very long time before I discovered the secret to true passive income that would pay you for the rest of your life. Now, I know this works for all online businesses. We're talking creatives, coaches, consultants, agency providers, service providers, those in the e-learning industry, those selling courses and memberships, content creators. Anyone who sells online to anyone can benefit from what I'm sharing today. And I know it works because I've used these exact strategies in my own company to generate millions in each of these categories. I've sold over $1 million in agency services. My group coaching program and consulting has changed so many lives. I've seen people double and even quadruple their income, and I've scaled one of the most successful online memberships in this industry, helping thousands along the way. I've sold courses from $29 to $2,000 plus and had more than 10,000 students in a single program. I've also done so many other things that look like success, booked out my agency with leads that other people gave me, acquired high ticket sponsors for events, my podcast, and other high profile collaborations. I've been a top 50 affiliate for multiple SaaS companies. I've built a community of tens of thousands. I've organically built and launched a podcast to the top 0.5% of all podcasts in the world, with millions of listeners from around the world, and been featured in major publications like Forbes, Inc., Marie Claire, HuffPost, without paying a single PR person. I didn't even know these stories were being published until after they were live. But none of that matters if I wasn't getting results for my actual clients. I've taught these strategies to our clients and they've done incredible things. Bonnie generated $60,000 in 6 weeks without any new leads. Krista had the confidence to help negotiate a client's $1.1 million salary. Christina landed Fortune 500 clients like Apple, Amazon, and Wayfair. Jennifer replaced her full-time salary in just 5 weeks of learning this framework. And Emily Jane opted out of an MBA program to work with us. I know this works because I've been in the online business world for a decade. This is from real life experience, not theory. And I've seen it transform lives, and I'm excited to see it change yours. See, I'm tired of all the secrets. There are clear strategies to scaling a business, and the majority of people are sharing one trendy marketing tactic and telling you to copy paste it, and y'all get upset when it simply isn't working the same for you. But the thing is, I know every business is different, and I know everyone's life requires different accommodations. And a business cannot be built in a silo. One person's success will not define your own, and someone else's path is not necessarily the right one for you. I want to teach you the framework so you understand the variables, and I want to share the exact strategies and give you all the facts, not just the shiny, sexy ones. Now, at the end of this presentation, those of you that stick around and are here through the end, I want to give you something I've been working on and perfecting for 6 months. I'm sharing my brand new mini course, the 2-click funnel. Inside, I'm giving you the exact automation funnel I'm running that consistently converts organic traffic into loyal buyers in minutes. And everyone here with me today is getting it for free, no strings attached. All you got to do is stick around for the secret link. So I definitely want you here through the end. I also want to be able to answer your questions. I know there are three kinds of people in this room right now. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out. Maybe you're making money, but it feels like it's always feast or famine. I remember what that feels like. You're about to lose your mind. You always seem like you're one client away from quitting, and you push yourself constantly, and you end up in this stress cycle that never seems to fully go away. The moment you figure it all out, you hit your goal, and then you burn out so hard that it feels like you're constantly starting over from square one. And it feels like if you let life win, your business suffers. You're potentially at your breaking point. And I know I've been there too. Maybe you're feeling overbooked and underpaid. You did everything you thought you were supposed to do. You're getting clients, tracking your hours, and yet somehow you feel like you're scraping by. You can't take on any more, and your income goal feels super out of sight. For some of you, you're still working for someone else. Totally cool. We've all been there. Most of us have been there. You may have had a consistent paycheck, but at what cost? With maybe a 3% raise or a bonus a year, you're playing small. You are so ready to break out on your own, but you are left with just a few hours before you crash each night, or those wee hours of the morning to get this business off the ground. I want to help you break this cycle. Are you willing to do things differently? I'm here to tell you it's possible, and you are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. I want to share the ecosystem that represents online businesses today. This is how everyone enters this world. This is how everyone gets to be a part of this ecosystem. And each and every one of you here is either already in it or you have an opportunity to join it. People come in one of two ways. They're either hyper-focused on their offer, what they're selling, or they're focused on building an audience, who they ultimately are selling to. And they similarly take on an identity that matches one of those building structures. Maybe you feel or relate to being a service provider or a coach or consultant or an entrepreneur. Maybe you're more of an event planner, or you're into memberships, or you want to sell digital products, or you see yourself as an influencer or a content marketer. Those identities typically match how we're choosing to show up in the online world. And typically, those who are audience first end up focused selling one to many. And those who have their offer in mind in the beginning primarily work one to one. Now, this is not true 100% of the time, but it tends to really follow this pattern. What I want you to see is to build a balanced business. You cannot stay on polar opposite ends. We all have opportunities to learn from each other. True businesses that are consistently earning an income online have synergy in the middle. They strike a balance of the right offers, an audience that they want to serve and can actually solve problems for, and the lifestyle they want to lead. So many people go out and pick an offer that sounds incredible, but the way in which they are required to show up to make that plausible from a financial sense doesn't end up working out. And that's why their business fails, not because it's not an option. There is no right or wrong option. You just have to find what's right for you. Maybe you start with a custom website build, and over time you take on SEO strategy as a different offer, and you ultimately start selling one-to-many products like blog Pinterest templates. That is a potential offer ecosystem that all flows and works together because you're selling to the same ideal client. Others of you may start with a low-end entry point digital product to help build an audience. Maybe it's a mini course, and then you go on to launch a more signature course that potentially even has a certification at the end of it. There's not a right or wrong here. You just have to find the synergy and the balance that works for you. There is no right combination. There's no one direction that I'm going to tell you that you all have to go. At the end of the day, I built businesses starting from both ends with a different combination and a different set of variables inside of that framework. And those businesses have all worked to varying degrees. The ones that were more successful and lasted the longest and were the most profitable were the ones that were the most aligned with how I wanted to show up in that time period and the actual problems I was capable of solving. The further away I was from solving a problem, or the further away I was from like showing up in my true authentic self, usually the less money I made. Those things tend to be correlated. The beauty of entrepreneurship is that you get to decide where you go, how you get there, what you do, who you help, and you can change your mind about any of it at any time. I am so over this idea that all of it's so formulaic and that you have to be married to one direction for the rest of your life. At the end of the day, the majority of you would consider yourself a creative. If not a creative, probably a creator. And if not that, at least an entrepreneur, a business owner. All of those identities require us to show up in a way that is visionary, in a way that allows us to picture a future that doesn't yet exist and pursue it. You could not pursue those things unless you had ideas. And those ideas shift and change over time. What you wanted as a child is not necessarily where you landed. And that is perfectly okay. See, she never really wanted to build a business. She grew up in a one stoplight town with a donkey for a next door neighbor. Both of her parents were disabled, which meant there wasn't a lot of extra. And she was told to be a professional. The only way she'd ever make it in life was to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. And she was basically on her own financially from the day she turned 16, the day this photo was taken. So clearly, she went to art school, which was none of those things, right? She didn't pursue being a lawyer. She didn't pursue being a doctor. She didn't pursue being a professional. She pursued her passions. And she nearly didn't get in. She applied twice. And the second time, she had one of the most contagious diseases and was very ill when she was going through the application process. So she did eventually get that quote unquote safe art degree. And she was pursuing graphic design. One day to land in a big city agency, and she thought if she got that corporate suit, that her life would all somehow work out and she would get the things that she wanted in life and she would check all the boxes that she was told she needed to check. She never thought she was going to get laid off once, let alone twice. And poor baby girl, 2 weeks before her second layoff, had no idea what was coming at her. See, she sat her husband down and made a plan and gave herself 90 days to build a business. Now, the amazing thing is 30 days later, she replaced her salary. Not from a fancy office, not with a fancy suit, but with a lawn chair and a 5-gallon bucket of paint on a laptop, using what you all have access to in this online space. Within 8 months, she hit that magical $100,000 mark, trying to still be the professional that she thought she was supposed to be. And 4 months later, she doubled it. $200,000 in her first year in business. She thought she'd made it. She'd built out a successful agency. She was working with branding and website clients. She was already speaking on stages. But a year and a half or so into business, everything about her life changed in an instant. She was in a 5-car collision and suffered a traumatic brain injury. She had no idea how sick she was about to become. Everything about the business she had built was no longer sustainable. She couldn't do predictable work on client deliverables. She had countless hours of doctor's appointments. She only got sicker. She was terrified she'd lose everything. She didn't recognize herself anymore. She was struggling to survive. But she fought for herself. And she came out of one of the darkest times of her life. She climbed mountains. She bet on herself. And she even retired her husband from his architectural position, where he is now able to work full-time for this company. She built a community of thousands of business owners craving to learn and feel like they belonged. She launched the Strategy Hour podcast, which has been heard by millions around the world. And she started to believe that she was capable of so much more than people had ever thought she was capable of. She went on to help 37,000 students from around the world. But then one phone call changed everything all over again. And ironically, this picture was taken just 1 hour before that phone rang. Grandma moved in on her birthday in 2020 and was never going home again. She didn't hesitate. She sold her house. She bought one that would accommodate the medical needs of a grandparent slipping away with dementia. She put a lot of her dreams on pause to be a full-time caregiver and keep the business going part-time. They played games and celebrated birthdays and petted puppies and talked for hours every single day. And she struggled to watch someone she loved more than anything slip away. Dee may be gone, but that experience affects how she shows up every single day. She is me, and she is so much like so many of you. I know so many people face unexpected life challenges that radically change the trajectory of their lives. I also know that I wouldn't have been able to handle all of those twists and turns if I hadn't built a business that would continue to support me financially and provide me the time freedom to prioritize life and family first. I'm here to help you pursue your dreams while prioritizing what matters most to you, regardless of what life throws your way. But how do we do this? How do we create more predictable income and sustainably scale in the midst of the craziest times when things are hard? You need a plan. How do you grow and scale? Better yet, how do you grow revenue and scale sustainably? With this framework, Claire had a $20,000 sales week with 100% conversions. With this framework, Anna hit her first $100,000 month and then did it again just 3 months later. With this framework, Christina booked a high-profile client to the tune of $16,000, and that was just one of those clients. She went on, like I said, to work with Apple and Wayfair and all of these incredible Fortune 500 clients. With this framework, Shelley closed $60K in new business while raising 7 children, full-time homeschooling. We all have life. We all have life happening. So let's break it down. Ultimately, scale is simple. No, I didn't say easy. To scale, you need a well-crafted offer that targets a specific audience and delivers a distinct outcome. Scale involves not just increasing sales, which a lot of people think is the whole game. How do you just keep making more money? but you actually have to build a robust business infrastructure to support that. Otherwise, that revenue will go up and immediately come back down. Scaling requires two angles, and I like to call it the art and the architecture. The art of scaling is the mission, vision, and values in which you run your company. It's the culture you create. It's how you hold yourself and your team accountable. It's how you set and make priorities. It's how you focus on personal and professional improvement, how you consciously and purposefully create a safe and inclusive environment. The architecture is the backbone of your business. It's the people, the customers that you serve, and the team that supports them, the product, the goods, and the services that drive your business, the profit, ensuring financial health and sustainable revenue models. It's the processes, efficient workflows, and systems that streamline operations. It's partnerships like strategic alliances and collaborations that enhance growth. It's your performance, those key metrics that allow you to track success, your positioning, how you stand out in the market, and all the planning that goes into this, the strategic initiatives for long-term success, how all of these things interconnect. What you don't see is the art is everything that makes this business uniquely yours. The architecture is the literal blueprint on which your business is built. You are the unique differentiator. But I want to call it the obvious. The market is shifting and AI is rapidly taking over. And I want to give you insight into how top entrepreneurs are both using and seeing AI. We are in the fastest pace of technological change of our species ever. It took 2.4 million years for our ancestors to control fire. 2.4 million years and use it for cooking. But only 66 years to go from the first human flight to humans landing on the moon. The pace of change is rapid. The internet was invented in our lifetime. Who else can feel and remember the pain of the wait as the dial-up started happening and the beep boop bops and it was so slow and so useless, and not even 20 years later, look where we are. In just 10 years ago, no machine could reliably provide language or image recognition. I don't think you realize, but this is all DALL-E could generate in 2014. A barely recognizable figure of what's likely to be some kind of animal. This is what DALL-E generated last week. A very natural landscape, a horse that this looks like it could be a photo, but it's not. This isn't real. What we've seen from AI in the last 12 months, for me at least, feels like science fiction. It would be really easy to feel confused about where to spend your time or attention, curious about what it's going to take to buckle up and get your business set up to succeed, even in this unpredictable climate, and compelled to seek simplicity in an otherwise complicated landscape. But I have really, really good news. The foundations of what makes a business work haven't changed. It is possible to adapt while continuing to grow and scale your business. People assume that to stay relevant, they constantly have to be moving the needle. And yes, change is inevitable. The only true constant in your business is its purpose. Your purpose is central to everything you do. Outwardly, you showcase your focus, and it gives the work you do real meaning. and it creates real impact. And that attracts people in to your world, which allows you to internally focus on the cash flow that you'll use to financially fuel and grow real wealth. AI specifically can speed this up. It can increase your productivity and your agility, but it doesn't need to change where you're going. Keeping the pulse on AI tools and technology is not only necessary, but it is required for your future. It's not meant to replace you, but rather enhance the skills you already have. So how are we going to use that to fuel that wealth? How are we going to make more money? How are we going to get to our financial goals? Because for what? What do we put all this time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into? People assume you get rich by building the business alone, but that's only half the equation. I'll tell you right now, I make the majority of my income outside of my business. Now, I'm curious, who here has no interest in working until they're 65? Me, me. Nobody wants to work till 65. Hello, me. Y'all are funny. Me, right? None of us. I don't know a single person that wants to work until they're 65. Who here wants to never have to worry about money for the rest of their lives? Because for me, that was the real thing. Sure, I didn't want to work until I was 65, but what I really wanted underneath all of that was to not have to worry about dollar bills. I'm talking about passive income. How do you take the stress off? How do you uncover something that is going to support you? Now, here's what you need to know. The wealthy do know something, and they pass it down to their kids, and that wealth continues. It's a loop. We've all seen it. We've all experienced it. And I want you to steal, copy, and paste this before the wealth gap gets any wider. Here's what you need to know. And here's what other people are simply not talking about. The wealth equation starts with an active asset. This asset requires active management to generate income. And I'll explain what that means here in just a second. You also need passive assets where you can set them and forget them. The combination is what unlocks total financial freedom. We're talking guaranteed income for the rest of your life. But what's an active asset? In this case, it's your business. While businesses have high risk long term, they can be sustainable at scale, meaning you create the efficiencies and the systems where you can have a predictable salary, and you can often beat the market with higher short-term margins. At scale, a 30% return is often 3x what you could expect in the S&P 500. Now, the income generated from your business will not just pay you, but will build appropriately, will pay you and your business overhead and your teams necessary to support it and fuel your passive assets, allowing you to not just save, but invest for your future. Investments are the only true example of true passive assets. Over the long term, they have much lower risk. A business could be here today and gone tomorrow. A passive asset has decades of longevity and a strong history of performance. With quality investments, the compound interest is overwhelming. Over a longer period of time, you will earn far more from an investment than you will year to year in a business. True set it and forget it investments have lower short-term returns, and that's okay. We're balancing risk and creating the future we all need. I want to zero in on your business and focus on helping you generate the cash flow to fuel the rest of the financial equation. The sky is the limit. You get to decide when to take the pedal off the gas. Let's create the space to not just grow your revenue, but to build the machine, the business that is going to match the life that you want. With our help and the framework, you'll find the right path that works best for you. And I get it. You're probably like, why am I overthinking this? This all sounds so simple. But you're balancing so many things. You're thinking about, how do I pay my bills? How do I do the laundry? How do I make sure the kids get to where they need to go? How do I get my hair washed? How do I have an actual sex life? How do I put dinner on the table? How do I invest for my future? How do I have time to have hobbies and all of those things? You are balancing so much and you're spread too thin. Your days are chaotic. Even if your calendar isn't like this, your day might feel like this. You're constantly bouncing from one thing to the next, and you're trying to fit life into these nooks and crannies. The thing is, we overestimate what we can do in a day, basically every day. But we have a much harder time seeing what is truly possible in a week, let alone a year. You are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. You're sitting here with doubts about your own abilities to make this really happen. But I want to flip the script and switch and move you into action. You have this expectation that building a business is linear, a series of steps that are just taken one after another, and then you'll somehow, some way reach that final mythical destination of true success. The reality is a lot more like a game of Candyland. You think you have it all figured out, and then you slide back. Sure, there are opportunities to jump ahead, but when you think you finished the game, the challenges just start over. They're not all that different at scale. You just have you have the same problems that are often bigger and sometimes more complicated. But you just keep playing the game. Before I tell you what's next, I want to do a quick recap. You can use the flow framework to explore the opportunities your business has, and then find the synergy in the middle with the balance of the right offers, audience, and lifestyle you want to lead. This balance looks different for everyone, and even on your own, your taste may shift over time, just as your style has inside your own home. Scaling is simple. You get to design the art and the architecture that makes up how your business is built over time. It gets to be a reflection of you, your taste, your values, your ideas. And you have the opportunity to retire young and wealthy. You get to build a business as an active asset that fuels financial investments that you have the ability to unlock total and true financial freedom. We're talking guaranteed income for the rest of your life. The flow framework allowed me to replace my corporate salary in 30 days, make my first $100,000 in 8 months, and then double it 4 months later. The art and the architecture helped me sustainably scale, build a business that was fully in alignment with my values, and create the systems and support in place to bring that all to life. And the wealth equation has set me up for early retirement. I'll be completely work optional by the time I'm 44. After that, if I choose to run a business, it will be because I want to, not because I have to. You get to choose the life that you want. You can throttle growth at any stage. You can choose the lifestyle and the effort you put in, the levers you pull. And if you're stuck now, this will help you unlock the next step. My sales methods will help you unlock your income goal. I've seen clients double with the flow framework and even quadruple with focus on the art and the architecture. Can you see how learning these methods can help you start 2x or even 4x your business? This framework will get you where you are to where you want to go. As a token of my appreciation and your attention to this message, I have one more promise to deliver on. Are you ready for the exact automation funnel I'm running that consistently converts organic traffic into loyal buyers in minutes? As my gift to you for listening, you're going to get the 2-click funnel. Utilize this powerful tool to capture leads and sell your offers in the blink of an eye. It is free. You're going to go to creativetemplateshop.com/shift-secret, and it's all set up for you to download.